Do you want to invest in a short-term rental, but worried about if you had to convert it to a long-term rental, what the tax implications would be? In today's video, we're going to go over the short-term rental loophole strategy and why it's so powerful for investors that want options as well as massive tax savings. Hi, my name is Zachary Jensen. I'm the managing partner here at TaxWise Financial Services, where we're empowering small business owners as well as high income earners with tax savings so they can build their wealth faster. In today's video, we're going over the short-term rental loophole strategy. So what is the short-term rental strategy specifically? It's a flexible approach for high income earners who want to test short-term rental on a particular property while maximizing the immediate tax benefits. So at the heart of this concept, it's pretty simple. You buy a property, you operate it as a short-term rental for just 1 year, you qualify it for the short-term rental loophole and get all the powerful tax treatments, and then if you choose, convert it to a long-term rental later. The first year of the STR operation unlocks accelerated depreciation and tax aid deductions that can actually offset your W-2 income or active business income, something normally not allowed under the passive activity loss rules under Section 469 of the tax code. In other words, you can earn high income from your job or business and use your short-term rental to legally wipe out a large portion of your tax bill in the same year. Then if you decide that hosting isn't for you or the market cools off or something like this happens, you can just revert that short-term rental to a long-term and you won't lose any of the tax benefits. This strategy gives you a fast 1-year window to capture the short-term rental loophole deductions, flexibility to stop running the short-term rental without jeopardizing the prior deductions, and a safety net, most importantly. If you don't like managing guests or you don't like short-term rentals or it becomes too much work for you, you can get out and become a much more passive investor by getting into that long-term rental strategy. So for those who don't know, a quick overview of the short-term rental loophole. Under IRS code section 469 that I alluded to earlier, rental activities are generally considered passive, meaning their losses can only offset passive income. Under this rule, though, you can have a short-term rental basically take the losses that normally would be passive and make them active. So a property is considered a short-term rental if the average stay is 7 days or less, and you provide substantial services similar to a hotel or bed and breakfast. You do the cleaning, etc. And if it meets that test, then you can qualify it as a short-term rental and qualify for this loophole. And it allows very large first-year deductions, often 6 figures plus, when you combine it with something called a cost segregation studies. For example, a $700,000 short-term rental might generate a paper loss of $150,000 to $200,000 after a cost segregation with 100% bonus depreciation, which is back in 2025 through 2029 in the Big Beautiful Bill. And if you materially participate, that loss can offset your income. So if you make $200,000 in income, you have a $200,000 loss. On paper, you now have no income and no taxes are owed. So very, very powerful strategy. When we layer on the short-term rental strategy, this allows us to have the short-term rental just for 1 year. So here's how it works step by step. Let's say we buy a property early or mid-year. We list it as a short-term rental on Airbnb or VRBO or one of these places. We qualify for the short-term rental loophole by materially participating, right? By managing books, pricing, messaging guests, overseeing cleanings, that kind of stuff. We conduct a cost segregation study to accelerate depreciation deductions in that first year. We claim those deductions to offset our active income. And then the following year, we convert the property to a long-term rental after we've taken all the deductions if we choose that short-term rental activities aren't really worth our time anymore, or we feel like we could do better risk-adjusted returns from a long-term rental, whatever we decide to do. In practice, many investors find that the first year's tax savings, often 6 figures, cover a large portion of their down payment, and after that, the property can be stabilized as a long-term rental with more steady monthly income and more relaxed management. This allows you to get all the tax advantages front-loaded, right? You capture most depreciation deductions in the first year. There's operational flexibility, right? You can choose to be short-term or long-term or flip-flop back and forth. There's lower risk, right? If local STR market becomes saturated with a lot more rentals or local ordinances tighten or you don't get the licensure that you're supposed to or you can't renew or something like this, you're not trapped. You can still get the tax benefits and make it a long-term rental. And then later you can 1031 exchange, refinance, or keep it long-term. Most of our investors we work with want to build a big portfolio of properties and eventually just want to be sitting on the beach collecting rental checks. So this is a great strategy conducive to that, especially folks that are professionals like physicians, attorneys, tech executives, that kind of thing. You'd want to use this strategy if you have a very large W-2. You don't want to use this strategy if it's a flip or you're trying to kind of renovate it, sell it really quickly. This is more for folks that are building wealth and trying to do it over a longer period of time. Pros of it, get massive tax savings right away, simple compliance, right? You don't need to qualify for rep status or anything like that. It's a lot easier of a test to do. You can decide whether you can keep it as long-term or short-term. You have flexibility with your exits too, and there's no depreciation recapture as long as you hold the property. Cons there is you must truly qualify for the short-term rental loophole, so don't try to fake it, right? Make sure you log your time, etc. Have genuine material participation. You can't outsource everything. That just won't work here. You must be active in the year that you claim the depreciation, and upfront, you got to pay for some cost seg fees, and there's a bit of a learning curve. But in the end, we found that this strategy is very, very powerful for people that are looking to build wealth in the long term and aren't interested in being in short-term rentals for the rest of their life, but they know that, hey, as a high W-2 earner or as a high business income earner, if I need to do short-term rentals and I just need to do it for a short period of time, I'm willing to do it and move my properties long-term later and still get all the tax savings now so I can buy more properties and spin that wheel faster. So if that sounds like someone like or you yourself are this type of person, please reach out to me. Our contact information is in the description below. Hopefully we can help you build your wealth faster. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.